welcome back to the show. I am your host, Ben, and as usual, I am joined by my co host, Ian. Say hello, Ian.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going? Yeah, I'm scared. How you doing, homeboy?
I'm doing pretty good as someone could do on a day that's where it's like a jungle.
Welcome to the jungle! It's really hot. No, seriously, it's like uncomfortably warm.
Yeah.
Eh. I don't know. I was watching a lot of Patton Oswalt stand up recently, and he had one where he's like, remember when Axl Rose came back after he, Guns N' Roses kind of broke up for a while, and then he, reformed the group with some other people, and he came out to do Welcome to the Jungle, and he starts running, but he's out of shape, and he kind of did that run too fast where he gets to the mic, he's like, Welcome to the Jungle! Hold on. Oh, man. This is... Hold on. You gotta find it. Hold on. And I'm like, yeah, that's pretty much how I would react to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like it's that weather. Although I hear thunderstorms rolling in, so we'll probably get a nice downpour. But it's like it's probably gonna be that rain that's like doesn't help. It's there and then it dries up and now it's just like a soup outside.
Yeah.
So
And it adds to the humidity.
I like how the cat's meowing and yet she's biting me. Like, I'm gonna act all sad. Now let me chomp on you. Ah! I was hoping holding her would keep her quiet for the show. It's fun having a tiny house and a tiny studio. So, Ian, why don't you tell us what you've been up to with your Monday and your past week?
Well, the weekend I decided to give myself a break, and I just played video games for most of the weekend. I decided to play some GTA. Since I beat it, I went through and played it with like a bunch of cheats and stuff. You know, it's like how we used to on Vice City with sniping people on standing on cars and stuff. You know.
Now we've talked about like the Grand Theft Autos before, where it's like Vice City is a fun game to put in all kinds of cheats and everything, but then like San Andreas, you think it would be better, and some places it is, but overall, like everybody in that game has a gun. Grandma on the street has a gun. Homeless guy walking up and down the road has a gun. It's like you can't do anything with it. Like and the other Grand Theft Autos, you could wait for if a cop spotted you, oh suddenly all the cops are on you. That's one thing, but when everybody on the street has a gun, it kind of takes the fun out of that. But I don't know. I do like the flying in it though, because before
in this game, everybody's like a pussy. They start running and get scared. They're like it's just a little bit more realistic, I guess, in that sense. There is one area like from your hometown that is supposed to be like a ghetto or whatever, where sometimes you'll get attacked by a gang if you start up stuff, or if you just walk down the street almost.
Well, the physics have always been kind of weird because, like in Vice City, the car doesn't so much fly as it's just like it just has less, mass or whatever. Like if you start speeding up, it'll jump up like the Duke Boys, but then come back down. But in San Andreas, the car will literally fly and do barrel rolls. It will turn into the DeLorean from Back to the Future. And like I've literally just gone over the entire map flying, and go, this is surreal. Somebody made this do this thing.
Hey, like this is a DeLorean, and they had the DeLorean. You were driving it too, weren't you? Didn't they have that model of the car or whatever?
Yeah, of course you're flying around in the giant gimp suit because that's what they put it in there. But I heard in Grand Theft Auto 5, like I've seen footage of guys going up mountains on a bike, just like going vertically, just straight up. They're like, this shouldn't be possible. Like, well, yeah, it's Grand Theft Auto. Physics do not apply here, so. I don't. Actually, speaking of DeLoreans, have you seen that photo online recently of somebody took like 3 DeLoreans and made a stretch limo out of them?
Oh no, that'd be a nice jewel to see.
Well, if you want me to find it, you can vamp for it a little bit. So
yeah. Okay.
And now everybody, listen to Ian tell you about his weekend playing Grand Theft Auto.
You go find it. Go find it. type on that keyboard like a monkey. But yeah, I mean, GTA 5 is pretty good. I still haven't played it online. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it does. I still have to. I know that Microsoft wants to make their money from, like from the internet and the networks and stuff, but it's like, I wish I could just play GTA online free without having to pay for a gold subscription. I used to have one a little while ago, but then it ran out, and I was doing it like month by month or whatever, or every 3 months. I forget. It was just cheaper for me at the time, but oh well, what are you gonna do? But playing with the cheats is pretty fun. I mean, some of the new cheats is like you could have like an explosive punch or whatever and hit a car, and they still do have like the moon gravity or whatever, and then they have a cheat where you can run really fast or jump really high, sort of. I found that was pretty fun. It was sort of like Crackdown.
Yeah, I found a link to it. It's not the one that's been circulating on Twitter a lot today, but whatever. It's from the Mary Sue, so I know it's not going anywhere. Because you ever try and find a link and you save it and then you go back to it, it's like, oh, this person totally redid their site and all their old links are broken. Like, that's great. So, yeah, I kind of spent the weekend playing video games too, because, like, I started on Saturday morning, I got up at 5, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna work, and it's like, this weather, and it's like, when you've been getting up at 5 a.m. for 5 days in a row, come the 6th one, you're just like, I don't know, man, I kind of could just take, like, a day to just do nothing. I mean, I'm trying to do, be productive every day, but it's like, weekends, you kind of want to just do nothing for a day to clear your mind and, like, do a little reset. So, yeah. I played some Starbound and a little bit of Don't Starve. I decided to play Starbound. I'd already played as a glitch, which is, a robot, a female robot, because I figure, I don't want to play as a human, because why? It's like, I know what a human looks like, and I know what a dude looks like, and it's like, if I want to play a whole different character, it's like, well, I might as well, play a robot chick, so that's fine. And then this weekend I was like, I want to make a human character just to see, like, how the storyline differs. Because, like, all these aliens, they're like, oh, their world was destroyed. Or, like, they're an outcast because they believe something weird, And it's like, here it's like, well, Earth was destroyed. I'm like, okay. Yeah, and it's like, it was pretty much the same once you get dropped onto the planet, but starting over. You ever play, like, a video game for a long time, you get good at it, and then you go back to, like, the first level, and it's like, no, I know how to be good, but I gotta go through all this grinding crap. Crap. I don't know.
Yeah.
Monsters just kept attacking me. Like, I will get a bow and arrow, and I will hunt you down.
Yeah. But yesterday, also, besides playing video games for most of the day, not most of the day, it was like half of the day or something like that, because I decided to go through and just clean out my whole Gmail, because I had like 5,000 emails I left on there. So that was a chore.
And how many of them were offering you to extend a certain part of the male anatomy? And how many of them were offering to give you boobs and Canadian drugs?
Well, I don't know. I mean, most of that was in the spam box, but it was just a lot of things like, like from Newegg or like Amazon and stuff is like, since they do like a daily thing pretty much, sometimes multiple times a day. Thankfully you can search on it.
Well, not too long ago, I just realized, screw newsletters. I don't, 99% like of my mail every day was like 6 to 7 just newsletters from sites like, hey, we got this new thing, come check us out, we got this awesome thing. Like, I realized, no, I don't need this. I was hesitant to unsubscribe from them because I was thinking, oh, I'm going to miss some important thing or whatever, but it's like, no. If there's some important thing that's relevant, then they'll tell me. Otherwise, I don't need their BS things. And there's so much junk. I mean, granted, Gmail is great for cutting out the regular spam to begin with. You know, the stuff from some mysterious guy in some country you've never heard of. You know, the thing that's not even really a letter, it's just like gibberish, and they send it to you, and somehow if you open it, they'll get lots of money. I don't know how that works, but can you hear that thunder out there?
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah. It's like, I don't want to hear you on this podcast. I shall smite you. But anyway.
Thor.
Yes. Thor is listening. He's like, hold on, let me get, what's the name of his hammer? Mjolnir, I think, something like that? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just, yeah. I don't even know what I was talking about. No, man. We've gone down so many rat holes, I've tripped and sprained an ankle.
Well, I was going to say I deleted an email because I wanted to keep on there, unfortunately, when I was cleaning it out, because I remember it was a newer one, too. It was something about Flickr was changing something, and my account needed some kind of action or whatever. I don't know.
Oh, man. Remember, was it you and I that we were trying to, like, set up, like, you asked me what my Flickr account was or something, and we changed it? Yeah. Or, like, we had to set up, it wanted to connect to my Yahoo or one of my email addresses. Like, oh, no, you're in the wrong account, so I had to go through some fiddling and finagling. Like, this is so dumb.
Well, I think they were, like, unmerging with Facebook now or something, and that was the whole thing, so you had to, like, log in for sure with the Yahoo. I don't know.
It's just so stupid when, like, a service, like, they're like, come and sign in, but you can only sign in if you have this other service, so it looks like you're in that other service's thing, but what if you're trying to just sign in to de-link it from something, it's like, no, you can't get to the actual dashboard. It's like, this is a horrible design. This is going to make people not want to subscribe to the service. So, I don't know. I got an email recently. I love getting the ones where they try and phrase it like, oh, congratulations, you've been selected for this new thing. And it's like, what is this? Oh, this isn't some new thing. You're just trying to get me to use this part of the service that I don't use because I know it's just a waste of money. And you're just trying to say, oh, you've been selected for, no. This feature's been here. You guys set it to be the automatic default whenever I check out from this service, and I keep having to change it. And you're like, no, please, you get $10, if you do it. And it's like, no, I don't like that. That's all right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, pushy. But yeah, for what I was doing today, I was working on a rig, and I drew the character and on all the different layers. I added deforms to make the things bend. I put pegs on them. I moved the pivots around. I did all that stuff. And really, the only thing I need to really finish on it is set up some of the hierarchies a little bit better, so that, like, if you move this thing, the thing that's supposed to be attached to it doesn't fall off. I'm still a little confused on how I want to hook up the legs and the torso, because I want to use that, what is it, IK, where you can, like, grab the torso and pull it down and the knees will bend kind of thing, because I tried setting it, and now it's just like, oh, so he's locked in permanently at this height, because the legs are just deformers and not pivoting, whatever. I'll get it worked out.
Yeah. I mean, rigging is cool, but it's like, I don't know if I want to spend a lot of energy on it,
Well, I mean, on the one hand, it's like this is like the fourth time I've made it, because I first did a traditional, like, frame by frame animation of a walk cycle and looped it, and every time I played it back, I'm like, I don't like how this leg's working here, and I really should just make a rig. So I made a rig, and then I was like, this black outline thing, like, it doesn't look like fancy enough for, like, what I'm doing. Like, I've got all these effects that I can drop on here, and so I was like, why don't I try doing a line-free design? And if you've drawn outlines for a long time, and then you try to draw something without them, you'll realize, oh wait, I had a lot of outlines I didn't need. So, like, I did another rig without outlines, but I only got, like, halfway through because I realized, oh, there's lines all over that. So I went through with this one, and it's a little more complicated than it probably needed to be, but I'm thinking I can use it down the road for more things. Like it'll add some dynamic stuff. Like I configured it so that like it looks like it has no outlines unless you drag something that's the same color as another thing over top of it. So like the facial features. If you drag the nose over the face area, you'll see outline until you drag it off the head, So that took a little fiddling around with. I kind of like where it's going, and I'm going to be playing around with it more, but,
Yeah.
Rigging.
I
don't know. I mean, theoretically... Well, theoretically, the whole idea should be I make this rig, and then it will benefit me down the road. I'm a big proponent of making the simplest rig to do what you want, but if I'm going to be able to reuse it as a template and use it for other elements in the scenes and all that, then might as well just start building it up. If it's something I'm planning on reusing.
Right. I'm sure you could probably do like things with like rigging, like with the hair or whatever, can't you too? Like if someone has like really long dreadlocks and you want to have them all flying around and stuff.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can have each one of those be an individual layer, or like, the thing I've been doing is, like, I had the head shape of the character, and then I've had the hair over top of it, and it's set to use the shape of the head as, like, a mask. So, basically, I'm gonna try some things I've seen in the tutorials of, like, animating the character's head and moving, and it's all really one drawing, but you're just smooshing all the things over to a side, and, It's an interesting effect. It's just, I'm wondering how efficient I'll be at it. So.
Yeah.
Well. So.
I always see, like, rigs of, like, minotaurs or centaurs or whatever, and, like, crazy animals that require, like, multiple joints and stuff,
Well, I mean,
like
my main concern is moving around the rig, which I think, it's like you press one button to go up the chain in the hierarchy, another to go down. It's just, I'm paranoid I'll put so many subgroups and stuff in there, like I'll click on something and go, hold on, I gotta take 15 minutes to move back and forth in the thing to grab the thing I'm trying to move. I don't know. We shall see. I think it's going to be interesting, though. I was also using this opportunity, like the fourth time I've been modeling the rig. I decided, okay, I'm really going to try and use the pencil tool in Harmony, because I've used the brush tool, which is quick and easy, but the pencil tool is supposed to give you the most ability to change things, because it's done with the center vector line rather than the brush tool is all about the envelope, so it's all about the sides, and it's kind of hard to change something if you don't like where it is. But with the pencil tool, you could just grab the contours and move the points around and manipulate it, and then recoloring it is really easy. The only problem I had with it is, like, you have to kind of make sure all the ends connect to close a shape to color it in. And if you're not careful, you can get a lot of invisible strokes just cutting your image in half. So as long as I had the stroke mode on where I could see it while I was drawing, it wasn't so bad. It's a little distracting, but at least I could see, like, no, you're going to try and cut this in half, and I want this to connect here. I think I'm coming to peace with it. That's what I'm saying. Most people are listening to this going, I have no idea what he's talking about. I don't know. So, yeah.
Yeah, our kids, we tend to talk about things that require some brain cells a little bit.
Well, it's like the way I study things is like I like to just dive into the manual and examples of stuff, and I memorize processes. Like whenever a professor would give a lecture on it, they're like, okay, this is how you use this program. Okay, you guys got it? Okay, I'm gone. And as soon as the professor would leave the room, I'd have to be the one, everyone come up to me going, so what was step 25 of this 40-step process? Like, what am I doing wrong? Oh, you forgot the part here. That's just how I roll. So it's like, when I'm working there, I'm working on it, and if it's a technique I'm not used to, but I've studied it, my brain is like checking my in the back going, okay, how do I do this? I know it, it's just do it. It's like keyboard shortcuts. If you know keyboard shortcuts, but you're not used to using them, you have to look down at the keyboard and press it. It's like, once after you get used to it, it's like, oh, it's just this,
Yeah.
Because it's like, somebody can tell you, hey, it's A, B, and C, and you're like, yeah, whatever, and then you go do it, and you're like, hey, man, it's just A, B, and C. That's exactly what I told you. Well, yeah, but I didn't understand it, really. I just repeated it like a parrot.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to begin with, though, I mean, what I want to say, though, is that we're both artists, so, I mean, a lot of stuff, like, lately we've sort of been doing, like, general things about movies and games and stuff, but, we don't want our audience to forget that this podcast originated by you, and then I came in later, but a lot of the topics are mainly going to be, like, revolved around things that artists can relate to or that they would encounter in their career or life or whatever, So,
Except bitmap caching. We still don't understand who does that.
Yeah, definitely.
I was like, what is this?
That was was a crazy one.
Yeah, that was like that one guy who was the grandfather of the computer. It's like, oh, he thought it was a good idea. Well, that's great. Somebody should build that. I think somebody should build a time machine. Am I the grandfather of the time machine now? I don't know.
Yeah.
So,
but what I was trying to say is, sorry for a sec. I was trying to say, I guess pretty much like our target audience mainly would be like other artists or people that are just trying to do like freelance or just trying to innovate or invent stuff, just like creative people, we'd like to reach out to what's the right brain side of people, Isn't that your creativity? Isn't that right brain? I forget.
Something like that. I mean, I find the brain works in different gears, and it's a matter of, being able to go between the two, like, and knowing which mode set you're in, because, if you're busy writing and then you try and draw, you can be like, I don't know what to draw, and you've got to like literally change your mindset and thinking of words and how stuff is phrased to, okay, how does this look, and rendering an image. So just like if you've done like drawing for a long time and you want to go into 3D modeling, it's a whole different tool set in the mind of like how to do it. So
yeah, well, the thing with like you though is like you said that you're a pretty logical guy, and you know like a lot of techniques and stuff in 2D, but it's like you're more of like a technical type worker. I would consider you you're not. I see you as it's probably harder for you sometimes to learn how to like express your feelings and stuff through your artwork. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I try and be open with art, and like whenever people are like, "That's not art," I step back and go, "Hold up. If this person managed to sell this to another individual and make money, screw whatever you think of it as art. It is, because that's the hard part." is making what you do, for your passion, what you want to make, and having somebody else believe in it and give you money for that idea. If your passion is knitting socks, and you manage to get a nice niche for yourself making this one kind of sock or whatever, and somebody buys it up and loves it, it doesn't matter if people are like, oh, that's just knitting, or that's just this, or whatever. It's like, whatever those people want to think, sour grapes, whatever, that person's still an artist because they made it, man. They're doing a thing, and they're making something, and they're getting people who support them. So, I like to be open for people. Like, art can be whatever, but there's some stuff where it's like artists can be like any other. Most people can be pompous and be full of themselves, and it's like I try to create art for different reasons. And it's usually because if I have a story I want to tell, or if I have an image I want to make, or I have something I'm trying to do. But, some people, they get very hippy-dippy with it, to where it's like, alright man, whatever, it's a picture. You don't need to be too deep about everything. I mean, if it's your life's work, good, more power to you, but...
You got to see the sadness in this line here, Ben.
Well, I mean, there is that story of the guy who hires an artist to make a picture of his swan, and the artist takes the swan for 4 years to study it, and he shows him 4 lines that make a nice calligraphic image of the swan, and the guy's like, well, it took you 4 years to make these 4 simple lines? He's like, but then he opens up his studio, and it's full of all kinds of different studies and paintings and sketches that he did to simplify the swan down to those couple of lines. He's like, this is the stuff you don't see. And, artists, especially like, cartoonists and people doing comic strips and stuff like that, you can labor on backgrounds and like the title of a book in a frame, and nobody's ever going to see that until like 50 years from then, when the person gets a Blu-ray and freeze frames it to study and goes, look at this little Easter egg that somebody probably spent all night doing, thinking nobody would see it. But they just had to. Yeah.
Whereas,
anyway,
like I was saying, like, you or me are, I mean, we're more like technical artists, I would consider us, because we're more interested in trying to, like, make our own product or asset or whatever, Or,
well,
like,
we kind of see what we do as, like, a process and a means to an end, It's like I want to work to make a video game, or work to make an animation for a character sprite, or make an animation for a short film, or just a GIF or something, or a comic strip. And some people, they're like, well, I'm going to just spend, a year making a painting, or, I don't know. I'm not much of a fine artist, because I understand the idea of art can be gorgeous and worth thousands of dollars and all this stuff, but at the end of the day, I'm kind of just shoveling a lot of coal trying to get this fire going. Gotta keep up on it. So
definitely,
I just keep going. Constantly got that artist anxiety of like, I don't make enough stuff. I spent all day building something to build something, and I haven't finished. But I think every artist is haunted by that to some degree or another.
Oh yeah, definitely. I just keep going back to thinking, picturing that one scene from Ferris Bueller's Day Off, where that one guy was just like, what was that painting called, where he was just staring at like the little person, and it's like, keep zooming in, and it's like all pixelated and stuff then, or something.
Oh, those magic eye paintings?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyway, Ian, I think it's about time we get on to the news this week. Did you want me to screen share to your screen yet, or?
I'll get into the news, but I'm just going to keep the screen share open.
Okay, because we had issues with it last week with our trivia. We usually screen share Ian's trivia questions to the viewers that are viewing at home, which is nobody, but it's up on YouTube. So, we usually screen share it, and last week it just wasn't working. So, so what's the news with Ian. Dun 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 dun. All right.
Like that Terminator music. Do 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 do.
Do 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 do. And now back to Chuck for the weather. Do 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 do. All right.
Yeah, well, you're looking on a screen share. This guy Jonathan, claiming wrongly in prison for 25 years, sues for $162 million. And just wanted to get your opinion on that. Do you think he deserves that? If he was wrongly imprisoned, does he deserve that amount of money, you think?
Well, he's never going to get that 25 years back. That part of his life is gone. That's a mistake, and that, the people that put him away, somebody needs to pay for that, obviously. And, he's suing for that much. Even if he wins, he's not going to get that much. You sue for the high ball so that you can get the low ball, whatever they end up giving you. So I mean, would you want to lose 25 years of your life to get over? I mean, considering a lot of people that get that stuff gets overturned, they've been on death row. I mean, I don't know, I wouldn't say a lot, but, you know, it happens. Like, can you imagine being on death row and they're like, no, wait, you didn't do it, never mind. It's like, whoa, what do you mean, never mind? if
Right.
if you guys hadn't found this, you know. So,
Well,
the only question is, where does all that money come from? Does it come from the federal government, the state government, the people that put them away, the prosecutors that, might have mishandled evidence? What, you know.
yeah. I don't know. I mean, what it depends. Like, I guess if you sort of want to break it down to like what kind of money was he making before, and then just like calculate that out to what he would have been making. I guess I don't know.
No, that's just lost wages. That's not even, you know, the issue. Like, if you were just drafted into the army, they'll pay you for the time you would have had as a civilian. That's great. But then, if you got injured or kidnapped, lost in action, and they find you again, it's like, who's gonna handle all the therapy and all the trauma you experienced and how it messed up your life? Because if you're in prison for 25 years, that messed up your life to a bigger degree than just what you would have made to survive,
Yeah. Well, it's weird too. It's like that's an odd number, 162 million. It's like I wonder how they came up with the number itself.
Well, it could have probably been under, like, what the limits are, like, what they thought they could get for each element of, like, years he was being held, who they're able to individually sue for, and then in general, I don't know. There are lawyers who get paid to figure out those numbers. So.
Yeah. Well, it's just like, I don't know. I mean, if it was me, I would probably take less money. I'm not sure how much, but I would probably take less money, and I'd want more of like a, like have a lot more press around it, and maybe have them have like
that's
a
why you
heartfelt
ask
apology and stuff,
Well, that's why you ask for an insane number, to send a message. Like when that woman got burned by the McDonald's coffee, she sued for the $1 million for the damages and and for her medical bills and everything, because they were like, oh, we're not paying for that. So they sent the message like she's suing for $1 million, and she didn't get that much, but it was the whole. They sent it to try and send the message, and then it got spun to be, oh, can you believe this crazy lady who didn't know how to handle a cup of coffee? It's like, that's not the case at all. So.
Yeah. I would just want like a really heartfelt apology from, like the like not necessarily like the government, but just like the who maintains prisons and stuff, like the department that maintains that,
Well, yeah, but how do you declare a heartfelt apology? Because, I mean, 25 years in a place that wrongfully imprisoned, I don't care what the apology is. I'm not going to just let it go away with a handshake,
Oh, yeah, definitely. I'm just trying to think. I mean, can't you also sue to, like, get, like, people fired or get, like, some kind of changes in the law in prisons and stuff?
I don't know. Hopefully people that win cases like this, they set up, foundations to try and prevent this from happening, or like scholarships for people that might be imprisoned, or different, hopefully that's what you think, but I don't know. It all depends on what goes down. So, moving right along to story number 2.
Okay,
Numero dos.
Yeah. This one says you'll be able to text your friend a smell in a few days. I'm not sure if they mean like it's gonna take a few days for the text to get there, or they're gonna release it in a few days. But I guess this Harvard engineering professor David Edwards has invented a device called an O-phone that sends and receives photos and scents. You'll be able to mix and match 32 basic scents to create more than 300,000 unique aromas, according to the O-phone website. And be able to send these smells to your lucky friends and loved ones in what will be called O-Notes, using an app called O-Snap. Again, this is all, here's a pair of O-phones. Oh, phones.
Yeah. See, the thing is, I think that could be useful in future technology, like, especially, Oculus Rift kind of stuff, and, if you want to record an event and record the aroma for posterity and, be able to record the environment and everything, but make it into a cheesy gimmick like that, I don't think it's going to work. Just like 3D photography doesn't really, it's like, hey, that's nice. I look forward to seeing what comes after this, because this isn't going to be the next new thing, is it? And, like, it's not going to replace the iPhone at any time soon, so.
Well, there's one big use that I'm surprised you haven't thought of yet that you should be able to have for it. The iFart, Ben. The iFart.
Yeah, but let's talk, basics here, man. Like, if you've ever like had the aroma candle, and it's like, oh, this smells just like a rainforest. It's like, no, this smells like bleach. This is bleach, maybe a little hint of a green bleach. So, yeah, I'm gonna have to say that's all right. I'm not the money to get this individual thing. Just like I'm interested in like 15, 20 years down the road when this gets rolled into the next iPhone. When this becomes like a feature that gets added into rather than you have to buy a whole other thing like the 3D TV. It's like, no, when TVs just have 3D built into them is when So.
Good old smell-o-vision, though.
Yep.
Definitely. It could have some gimmicky uses, but or just the gimmick. I would think, But moving along.
Story number 3.
Yeah.
It's a magic number. Oh yes, it is.
3 is a magic number. One is about Starbucks will pay tuition for many employees to finish college.
I think I heard about that one a while ago. So,
sure
yeah.
You have to be working, like, on average every week, like, at least 20 hours a week. I think for, like, your freshman year, they were going to pay, like, part of it, and then towards the end, like, your junior and senior year, you were going to pay for them, like, fully, I guess.
I gotta say, though, I do applaud the idea for the simple fact that, like, there's no investment for them other than they want to have a better reputation for people to want to work there because they're giving this away. It's like, because if your barista is, got a degree in such and such, that doesn't help them make a better coffee. Other companies like McDonald's are just shoveling people through. It's like they don't care about further training. They want to individualize things and make it like easy to replace whoever's on the assembly line. So this kind of thing I think is a good thing to some degree. I don't know all the details of it, but from the sounds of it, it sounds promising.
Well, I guess, this has been done before with other places, I guess, but I guess what Starbucks was trying to stress that this was like a no strings attached type thing, So,
Well, it's not like you get a free college degree to study in coffee grinding 101 and baristaing 202. It's like if you can actually go back to your college, go to college and finish that kind of thing. I don't know. I say it's a good thing. Whatever helps get people educated and actually trained for more of a future rather than just working at the espresso machine. Go for it.
Actually, there is one thing in here that I noticed that it's does specify about the college. It says Starbucks, which already provides environment benefits and company stock, is throwing in yet another uncommon perk in the service industry. Paid ride for the last 2 years of college, no strings attached. It says in a deal with Arizona State University, the Seattle Coffee Giant will reimburse the role as junior at ASU's online program. So it is for the title is a little bit misleading. Actually reading.
So it's specific. So it's specifically okay. They got to deal with this one college, and they're helping them do their thing.
Right.
Kind of like when your college sends you that email that's like, oh, alumni get special coverage on this one insurance plan. It's like, really? Huh? Interesting. Why would my school want to get in cahoots with an insurance company unless? Oh wait. I wonder who really benefits here.
Well, I'm not sure how big that college is. If it's like Ohio State, where I mean, you could get like a master's in animation and stuff if you wanted, or you could do like a whole bunch of other degrees. You know, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, man. So, still, overall, I think it's a good thing. I'm always for better and greater education. So, moving along to story number 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Me. Copy the link here for anybody who are watching and the blog here.
Alright.
On his bipartisan Wi-Fi bill in Senate could up speeds. Says bill from Democrat Cory Booker and Republican Marco Rubio could call on FCC additional 5 gigahertz wireless spectrum for Wi-Fi use. That could be a good thing, I guess.
Well, I don't know. I mean, until I see it, I like the idea of freeing stuff up, but I have no idea what all the bill entails. It could be like, oh, you get better Wi-Fi, but you have to sign away all your rights.
Yeah.
I mean, because we've talked about the whole net neutrality thing, and they're like, no, if we build this fast lane, see, it won't make a slow lane because, wait, hold on. Let's explain this so that it doesn't sound like we're really, really stupid. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, the thing is, either, both sides of the aisle, there are elected representatives, but I still don't want to trust a thing until I actually read it myself. Regardless of who signed it, somebody gets kickbacks, and it's like, oh, this thing's great, yeah, that's nice. Show me what it actually does first.
Yeah. Well, I was also, when I was looking up news articles, I saw sort of a related thing where there was this one company that wanted to, they were gonna make some software or whatever so that you could free up part of your Wi-Fi for, like, guest people or whatever. And I guess by doing that, it was supposed to actually give you more privacy, I guess, because I guess the thinking behind it was that when everybody's using your Wi-Fi and then nobody knows who's doing what, I guess, then it's easier to have more privacy, I guess,
Well, I mean, that's already a thing in, routers where they have it just like, it doesn't tell, it doesn't tell the thing accessing the router what all the stuff is getting divvied to. So you could have a thing going to your Wii, a thing going to, a computer, to an iPhone, all that stuff. But it's like, the problem is with Wi-Fi and any kind of signal strength is when you divvy it up among stuff, you're slowly cutting off how fast you can go through. It's like, you only get so much of this Wi-Fi pie, and if everyone gets a slice, but it's going to be a narrower slice, so, I don't know.
Right. Well, and the other problem people were worrying about is, I guess there was a case of a guy that had a SWAT team show up at his apartment or whatever because he had left his Wi-Fi open for, the whole neighborhood, and then somebody had like the child porn and stuff, on there.
Yeah, well, that's the problem with having an open network. It's very important that you always have a password protected network because, somebody could just be outside your house leeching off it, depending on the signal strength you got. And, that's not a good thing. I don't know. I mean, we've seen my brother had this one image set that he was sharing online for a while of, like the different Wi-Fi names and like on the city street, and the one guy was like, "Hey, I'm totally leeching porn off of this network because they're not secured." And it's like, haha, very funny. Tell me how to secure it. Like, oh, I'm not going to tell you. Why would I stop it? So, I don't know.
Wi-Fi.
Moving along. So
it's a good invention, but I don't know if it's. Would you consider Wi-Fi as important of an invention as like the light bulb, though?
Well, it needs to be more, ubiquitous? It needs to be out there more, because it's like, oh, this is a great idea till I go outside, and it's like, I can't, it's like, oh, if you have this device in your phone that'll let you watch videos and play games, well, yeah, except when you're not in an area that has, even if you had a data plan that would let you get more than 2 gigabytes, it's still a matter of speed. It's like a Wi-Fi is always going to be better, but not enough places have it, and really we need to just be coding the country in Wi-Fi, if we want to move things forward. Everyone needs to be able to go outside and watch a video. It's like and you know how it is when you go to a place and it's like, oh, you get free Wi-Fi, but you have to log in and then you have to enter this password, and every time you want to do something you have to tell it's like, why? Just make it so I can walk in and get access to the internet wherever I am. That's what I want. That's what everybody wants. And we haven't done it yet because there's no financial impetus for the, or motive for the people to actually do it. Just like when we were talking about Tesla and the whole, free electricity, it's like, it would be great for the world. Yeah, but how do we make money on this? Well, guess we're not doing it, guys. Yeah. So, news story number 5.
I was also gonna say though too is that every time I try to like use a Wi-Fi like at Pizza Hut or other places, like you sign in and for some reason it doesn't like work that well,
Well, of course not, because you're on the customer Wi-Fi. I mean, if it's free, most free things, they're free for a reason. It's because they don't, it's not. You're not going to get the free awesome internet. It's like they're going to say that for people that are paying, because why give it away?
Oh yeah, I just mean sometimes it's like it won't even connect to the network, or it's like it won't like you can't even access anything,
Well, network guy that's like he just handles it on the side while he's delivering pizzas. It's like he doesn't. Yeah. There's rarely a dedicated guy for that for free service. So, just like how like the waiting room is always messed up because the people just get to sit there and people pile stuff there and no one takes care about cleaning it and keeping it orderly because it's public service. All right, yeah. News story number 5.
But this one it's sort of a news story, but it's more of just like a look at YouTubers and like video games and stuff. And we've talked about this before. I'm not a little bit on air, and I think off air too. I forget, but it's just looking at how the increase of like the licensing with YouTubes and Let's Plays and all that stuff, and how a lot of people are, like Nintendo and other game companies are trying to attribute it to like a pirate radio type thing,
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, there was that recent comment recently from Phil Fish, the guy who made Fez. He was saying, "Oh, if you play my content on your channel, then I should totally get part of the revenue from it." And it's like, or the royalties from it. And it's like, well, if they're just playing a cutscene, maybe. But the whole idea of Let's Plays is that it's transformative because the way you and I play a video game is different from the way you play a video game, and watching somebody else play a game is different from actually playing it. So, I don't know.
In an article on Gama Sutra earlier this week, Mike Rose asked, would YouTubing kill the games press? And while the general consensus seems to be no, the sentiment that it has become a key part of the landscape.
Well, I mean, there's no doubt that when a game, well, there's no doubt when a game gets made, if people are making Let's Plays of it, there's no doubt that it does increase sales. And as much as people are like, oh no, this is spoiling it, I'm like, a Let's Play will do more for your game than a demo anymore. Demos are kind of going out because most people play it and it's like, well, what's the point? I already realized that, this sucks or this doesn't, but if you watch a Let's Play of it and you see somebody else having fun with it, well, you're going to try it out. It's a different thing, and it is part of the landscape, because, of course, YouTube's not going to get rid of it because it's a big part of what they're, what people are watching.
Right. It is... Another thing is it says, another reason is the perception of content ownership. Well-known indie developer Phil Fish.
Yeah, that's the guy I was talking about.
Yeah, he tweeted that he believed that YouTubers should be paying him for using his content. So, and Nintendo went several steps further. First with legal injunctions, and then the establishment of affiliate program. Of course, this perception is not universal, but it is curious how many game makers and some fans have this broadcast view of their, be it in much as Metallica saw Napster on, in the 90s, and especially so the more successful they become, they essentially saw, I made the content, make your show pay me, So, I guess that's what a lot of the artists are viewing it, and original companies, I guess.
Well, places like, Nintendo, I was listening to Total Biscuit did a video recently talking about it, and he was saying that, places like Nintendo and other Japanese developers, they have a different mindset than most people where, the idea is that this is free promotion. Why would you want to hinder it? And the people that are making money from it, playing ads before their videos and whatever, Nintendo, whenever you play a Nintendo game on a video on YouTube, all the money from the monetization of that goes directly to Nintendo. You don't get a part of it, and the whole affiliate thing is now they're saying, okay, if we approve of what your content is, that you're not being, it's not all a bunch of dick jokes, then we'll give you a percentage of the revenue from it. And it's like, yeah, screw you. Almost every other developer sees this as like a publicity thing, and it's a good thing. So.
Yeah. Well, I think another take that they had on this article, I was trying to look for it, but they were saying about how, I guess then theoretically, if you're supposed to get in trouble with this, then you could get in trouble for just filming people. I think there was a YouTube channel of people just filming themselves playing Monopoly or whatever,
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I can understand with things like movies and TV shows where you're, the fair use argument that a lot of people make, this whole thing with, the Nostalgia Critic and people that are trying to emulate him and have shows where they take a movie and explain its, step by step and make fun of it, and they're saying that's transformative and therefore it's fair use. It's to a degree. I mean, the argument is, can the thing that you're making be a replacement for the movie? And it's well, if you're doing a satirical review of a crappy movie that's a really bad film, but I like to watch your funny faces you make while you watch it, and you're going to play the funny scenes from it, then I could prefer to do that than see this crappy movie. I'd rather see the augmented version of it. So it could be a replacement, and my fear is, with the way Congress has done kind of a crappy job of managing, net neutrality and other things, it's not totally out of the realm of possibility that eventually oh hey, fair use was a thing, but now they've totally rewritten how fair use stands, and you can't make reviews like this. And it's like you can't just grab content from whatever and say, oh, I have the right to do this. It's like, yeah, and just like with the whole YouTube thing, when they automate it and nobody's really watching, then as to how it's done, you have that whole issue of well, I don't want to have something that could accidentally get snagged up. Just that's why when we play song clips on here, everything I bring to the table is either made in like GarageBand or from Apple Loops or something like that, where or like Kevin MacLeod or and Incompetech or the guy from Audionautics, those guys who let you use their stuff as long as you either credit them and say this is where you got it so more people can check it out, or stuff that's totally free, because at the end of the day, I don't want my stuff to get picked up. And there's already enough false identifications of people pretending to own stuff. Kevin MacLeod was saying that people used his music in their videos, and then they were claiming copyright ownership of it, and he's like, no, I made this music, and I leased it free on the world, so you don't own it. And now I need to prove that I'm the one that made it. So...
yeah. I don't know, what is like the fair use thing for like audio and stuff? Isn't it like music and stuff is like you can use it for like half a second or half a minute or something, or like 23 seconds, I think it was.
The length, but the argument is that if you want to use something for fair use, it should be for like primarily educational or entertainment purposes, and it shouldn't compete with the thing that's a clip from. So, like, you can't play an entire movie straight through, because obviously they're just going to watch your stream rather than go watch the movie. And, things like remixing is questionable. Like, really, the whole idea is if you profit off of remixing, because that's the other argument I've heard, is that fair use needs to be non-profit. And people that make shows on Blip where they play, clips from TV shows, they're kind of profiting, so I don't know exactly how, the issue of what is fair use and what isn't, I don't know. It's like it's safer like if you're not a network on YouTube, if you don't have somebody that can shoulder and muscle in and say that your thing isn't breaking the copyright issues, then I mean I can leak a really nice video from a guy who's dealt with the YouTube thing, and he explains, he's like, he's like, I'm a movie reviewer. I've been doing this stuff for 3 years, and I've had to reply to all these stuff, and all of a sudden, all these Let's Players were having the same issues. He's like, I agree it's BS, but he's like, I've been putting up with it for 3 years, guys. So here's how I do it, and yeah.
Yeah. Well, and unfortunately, even if it's like legal, things like, like the systems on the flagging or tagging or whatever you want to call it on YouTube, it's even if you're allowed to use it, then you get run into problems with YouTube, like the automated system with it, These are just, there's a lot of gray areas with this type of stuff, and I mean, really the internet itself, I mean, talking about net neutrality and everything, the internet is mainstream. I think it's 2014 now, and I think it's like mainstream using of the internet, I think has been pretty much used since like the mid 80s, I think. So it's been about 30 years, but it still seems like it's, with a lot of issues on the internet, it's like things that's still like a kid, and you still have a lot of issues to work out, I guess,
Well, there's always going to be issues. I mean, if you've ever had like a 10-year-old computer, and then you try to go to a modern website on it, the thing will be howling. It's like, today we watch YouTube videos, we watch entire movies, lengths of moving picture content every day on the internet, rather than watching it on TV or on, we watch them on our phones, we watch on all kinds of devices, and it's not like 10 years ago. The internet was not like this,
Yeah.
I know this because I have a laptop that's about over 10 years old now, and it howls when I'm just keeping a browser open for too long. All it wants to do is check a little bit of email. Oh no, there's too many pictures on this site. There's too much HTML. Oh no, all this stuff. It's making me go crazy. I mean, I had an issue with my dad one time when he got a free computer from somebody that was giving theirs away. That should tell you something right there. And he was complaining about how the trouble he was having checking Facebook and his connection and everything. I'm like, yeah, but how old is that computer, Dad? He's like, it's not that old. And my brother and his wife were like, how old is it? Well, about 10 years. And they both collectively just go, ooh. He's like, what? What is it? And it's like, that's a thing, man. Like if you've seen, like the old internet, the pre-Web 2.0 stuff, that it's getting harder to find, and when you find it, it's like, wow, this is what sites used to look like. We didn't think that's what it's going to be like. And like Netflix streaming 4K shows. It's like that kind of thing. I mean, even getting a 1080 show on my connection, my router freaks out because my internet connection is like, I'm not strong enough for this, man. And if you want to parse me out to access on other devices, guess what? So,
well, it's net neutrality. Let's just hope it doesn't become not neutrality.
Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba. Thank you, Ian. Thank you.
Change the E to O. Let's hope that doesn't happen.
Anyway. So yeah, we've been on for about an hour.
Well, I have one last article. I thought it was sort of interesting. I didn't have time to fully read through it, but it's about a New York museum's interactive exhibit. Lets you redesign art pieces, I guess, and I guess it lets you they have when you go into the museum, you get like a pen or whatever, and then you get to draw on the interactive screens or whatever, and you could I'm not sure if each thing has its own screen or if it's just one screen and you go to a certain screen and then you can draw and then it'll find the similar art piece or whatever. I don't know. I'll link you the article here so you can take a look at it, but I mean, it seems sort of neat. I guess they wanted you to be able to redesign a piece or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, this kind of thing's been done. Been done before to some degree. That they want the people to be part of the experience and to try and they hand out printouts of stuff and have draw your own this or tutorials on how to do things. It's a nice idea, but I can see next the road someplace going, oh yes, come to our interactive exhibit and design T-shirts, which we will then put on sale online and never pay never give you part of. Or I mean crowdsourcing the ideas, yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I'm all for getting people interested in art. Like the people that go to exhibits like that, to a degree, they want to be artists themselves. A lot of people that people that admire the arts kind of want to be an artist. And if there's a way that the artist can kind of come by and do that thing from Ghost where you're at the pottery wheel and they're kind of helping you shape it, I think it's a good thing overall. Whatever, as long as it's cool, because some people, they're like, oh, we made this really interactive thing, and it's great, and it's you get there, and it's nah, this is lame. This is a PowerPoint, huh?
Yeah. Well, it says, according to Wired, you'll be loaned an electronic pen when you visit, which you can then touch to the text plates next to the art pieces to remember them. Then you can load all the objects you've saved onto one of the 15 interactive screens, not only to look at, but to draw over and digitally modify. So,
when you said that you hadn't read through the article completely, I was kind of hoping that you'd start scrolling down, and then all of a sudden one of those big scary faces from The Exorcist would pop up, or it'd be You know, or it'd be like one of those things where it's like, oh, your computer has a camera built in. You know, you can use the monitor to take a photo, lean in and smile. Okay, and you click it, and it's a picture of a cow going moo. It's like, sucker. I was hoping it'd be some kind of prank like that. You're like, oh, this sounds interesting. Because every April Fool's Day, somebody believes the stuff that, you know, it's like, oh, can you believe that they're doing this? And then ThinkGeek is like, you know, here's a thing that we're selling. It's actually, we're just testing in case we want to actually make this a real product later down the year. If there's enough interest. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, oh yeah, speaking of holidays, well, it's not really a holiday, but it's like this week, didn't we have like the summer solstice or last week or whatever? Or
Yeah, something like that. It matters to people that aren't me, because it's kind of I mean, I hate to be like, you know, stuck up American guy about it, you know, because it's like I have a hard enough time with the holidays we've agreed as a society to recognize. So when someone says they're, you know, like the winter solstice and the summer solstice, it's like, I get what those are, and I get that they have meaning to people that aren't, you know, exactly. I mean, yeah, I get that there's probably some mainstream, you know, groups that practice them and everything, but there's a lot of just like, I believe in, you know, Earth Mother, whatever, somewhere you're just like, I mean, that's another thing is like, you know, hippy dippy stuff is, it's like, you know, there's stuff where it's like, you know, somebody has an established belief and it's like, okay, but if the person that just like, I made this thing up and I happen to like the summer solstice, and I made this thing up where I consider Halloween my religious holiday, and I made this thing up where this, you know, like I have a hard enough time remembering the holidays on the calendar we've accepted. So,
Yeah.
you know,
Well,
I mean, I don't know. I've known people that claim to be Druid, or at least, you know, practice it or like agree with it to some extent. I'm sure there are people we know that have been agreed with all kinds of different stuff. So, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I hate it because my one calendar app on my phone, it's like you update it and then you don't get the holidays on there anymore. I can't figure out how to get holidays on there or import them or whatever, you know, like.
Well, maybe it's time to
Crazy.
switch, good sir.
Yeah, I'm gonna switch to a prepaid phone. That's what I'm gonna switch to.
Yeah, I was at a dollar
Switch
store
to some
the other
Cubs.
day, and I saw they had
Strange.
prepaid MasterCards, and I'm just like, what? What are you buying that you need a prepaid MasterCard for that you can't be paying for cash? Like, you're at the dollar store to buy this card for? I don't know. It just seems a little weird to me.
Yeah.
So anyway, did we have anything else we want to talk about this weekend? Have we seen any movies? Have you seen any shows?
I did have sort of a thing that I thought we could. I wanted to discuss a little bit about because I thought I would go through since I've been soldering and stuff, and I was
Breathing in the
reorganizing
fumes.
cables and stuff today. I just thought we'd talk a little bit about electricity because electricity is important to artists and the world, you know.
Well, it's arguable about artists. I mean, there are those people that are like, no, man, I like the pigments and touching stuff. It's like, I don't want to ever touch a computer, you know. And I don't know, depending on how well trained that person is, because finding a traditional artist that really knows traditional media, some of them are Luddites that will never touch a computer, and on the other hand, sometimes you kind of want them to stay that way, because it's like, oh, I can just imagine if this guy discovers Photoshop and goes to the bubble wrap filter. Great.
Yeah. Right.
But
Well,
not all artists are Amish, so bring us along, Ian.
Well, I mean, first I'll start off with, I mean, I talked about how I was trying to solder stuff for my, like my camera, so I can, cause I'm working on stuff where you can, I bought like a Bluetooth headset and like a Bluetooth audio receiver, and the thing is you have to, you can use that to have your camera take a picture over Bluetooth using like your phone or whatever, but you have to like rewire it and put like a little transistor between it for like the signal or to work or whatever to the, because there's like it's like a 2.5 millimeter jack on my camera on my DSLR, and you can't just get like a regular adapter to go through that to convert between like the regular like a regular audio source or whatever, XLR or 3.5 or whatever audio source it is. You have to put a little transistor in between it to, you know, like convert the audio signal and sort of like into like a grounded frequency or something. I don't know. I just follow the schematic and just solder it, you know. I don't really know how it works myself, you know. But it's interesting. I mean, I could put up in a link the schematic for it. But I was just soldering it, and I was trying to solder with I bought like a cheap like $15 solder iron, and then that wasn't working out too well because it's like it melted the solder a little bit, but it was sort of like just like burning it. And then I borrowed my dad's, like, he had like a solder gun where you could like have different levels of heat on it or whatever, and it has like a light built into it. It's like, oh, this works a lot better. Like, you get what you pay for, it seems like, man.
Well, you know, it all depends on what you plan on doing with it. You know, if I had a project that I was planning on soldering, I'd get a decent soldering tool for it. I mean, I have a soldering iron around here somewhere that I've talked about, the one that won't burn you because it cools back down. But that would just be for like small jobs. I don't think I'd do anything big with it. But I'm not a big wiring anything kind of guy. I'm sure if you look around, I'm sure there's some guy who hacked one of these together who is selling it. You know, if it's a thing that's like you need that, I don't know wiring a Bluetooth thing to a camera. I don't know, like, since I don't have a DSLR, I don't know how often I would use something like that. You know, I don't see where I would be at the other end of the street and go, I gotta get a picture of that thing over there, but my camera's all the way over there. Oh, wait. You know?
Well, the reason that I use it is because it's, I use it because mainly for my panoramas, because I do like HDR with it, and it requires you have to use like a tripod and like a panoramic head, so when you start taking the picture, you don't want it to like shake or anything. So even with the cord, it could, if you have it hooked up to a cord to your phone or whatever, it could introduce shake if it's really windy and the cord's knocking against the camera or something. I don't know. I just try to keep the picture as crisp and clear as I can, you know.
Introduce shake. Is that one of those late '60s hits from Chubby Checker when he gave up on the whole twist thing? I don't know. I saw a commercial where they had Chubby Checker announcing, he's like, "Oh, this great collection of dance songs from the '60s." It's like back when I had my hit, and they played, you know, him singing the twist, and it's like you realize that was like what 60 years ago. You got a guy, you know, that was the height of his career, and he had how many songs going? Let's twist again. And, you know, all the songs were like, come on, remember this twist. It's still a thing, really. Can you imagine, like, you've reached the point in your career where they look back and go, hey, let's talk about this thing you did back 60 years ago when you were relevant? I'm just like, oh, man, that's gotta hurt. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, Godspeed to him for being able to, you know, make money off that. I mean, the guy who did the Monster Mash, you know, he wrote that one hit for his entire career and he made a living off of that in his, you know, Boris Karloff impersonation. So,
yeah,
you know, that, I mean, I've read articles about that guy where it's like he had one song that he did it, you know, every holiday season, and he steadily lived off it. He's like, that should be commemorated, as anybody trying to make a living doing art should do, because, you know, if you can have one thing pay all your bills for your life and then just do whatever you want for the rest of it, that's a good thing. That's enviable.
Oh, yeah. Shake that ass. Show me what you got. forget how that song went.
That mystical song? No.
Yeah.
Take a bath, wash your shelves. Yeah. That's the censored version. Censored versions to songs are always a little amusing in their own right, especially when it's like, this song should not exist in censored form. Just like there's a censored version of Scarface, it's like, come on.
They were playing play that Goodfellas on TV. It's like, what? That's gonna be great.
I could see Goodfellas being cut around. It's just, how do you deal with the violence? I think it's the language they cut out more often than anything anymore. So, like, you can show a guy all bloody and beat up, but, saying the F word, heaven forbid, saying the F word, or having, like, a naked lady. Nudity, oh no. So.
Well, the Comedy Central will let it in now and then, and a lot of times they'll let shit in,
Well, that's the after dark. Well, they'll do that after midnight, and they usually, after the commercials, they'll run that little thing, this is unedited, so watch for the naughty language.
Yeah,
so,
you gotta be,
what did you want?
Between this time, you gotta be responsible parent in between this time.
Yeah, well, so what did you want to tell us about electricity, Ian?
Well, first, I'll tie that in a sec, but I was also going to say I was rewiring some cables and stuff because I wanted to... I was trying to get in between my desk to fix some stuff on my wall, and I rearranged my soundproofing a little bit, and it's like, man, I should really have these cords organized because I had to step over them and stuff, and it was sort of crazy. So I decided to have a little bit of cable management around my desk, so I wrapped things up, and that was sort of a pain in the ass, but it turned out to be pretty good. I just mainly use just like I just use twisty ties and stuff, How was your cable management?
Let's not talk about that. As I said at the beginning of the show, I'm in a very small house with wiring from like the 30s, and every once in a while, like, the outlet that's under my computer is dead, and the number of the way the circuits are rigged up in this house, if you plug too much stuff into one wall, you can knock everything on it out, and we have to reset it. So right now I've got a wire going in from the washroom in here, and yeah, it's not the best. I'd really like it to be updated, but considering what this house was designed for and how it's slowly, just like with computers 10 years ago, everything that's old, all of a sudden we need more power, and it's like this house is just going to get fried at some point. So cable wise though, I kind of just shove everything out of the way for as long as I can, and eventually dust gets on it. I mean, I usually, I like the idea of getting the longest cable you can, because you don't want to have to pull something and then be like just a foot away from where you need to be with it. But unfortunately, the thing about that is that you get these huge cables and then they bundle up, and you have to push them behind stuff and out around, and it's a mess. It's a rat's nest. I mean, when I was in college, I was better with it. Well, when I was in college, I was better about it because I had more space for it, so I was able to separate wires and everything. Here, it's like this room is so small. I've got literally cable TV wires and internet wires going along the walls. I've got an electrical wire. I don't know where it's coming from going into the fuse box back here. This room is very. You've seen it on the stream, Ian. It's I don't know if I call it a fire hazard, but it's just a hazard in general. But it's what I've got to work with because I don't have an office studio outside of the house. So,
right. Well, some people, they'll go really far and they'll have like those what are those? They look like accordion hoses or whatever. They'll put the cords through and they'll drill through the desk so you have holes going up through shelves and stuff,
Well, I mean, you can get cables organizers. Some people, they'll just get like those, different office desk organizers. You can get like, paperclip, like those little what is it, those dog clips or whatever, and like you can just clip those onto a desk and then run the wires through those, and that way you're, I don't, was it bolt clips maybe? I don't know, but there's, you can find, if you Google, organizing and cable management and just different things for what you need to do, you'll find stuff. So there's all kinds of examples on Pinterest and other places of how to organize stuff, like, what was that one DIY site I go to all the time? Instructables. They'll have examples of like how to organize and build a desk with just a bunch of tubing and some boards, So.
Yeah. Well, just besides trying to get around my desk and stuff, I wanted it to be a little bit more organized because I have a glass desk, so everything's naked. You can see everything totally under there, So I just wanted a little bit for the aesthetics of it too,
Well, I've had the same desktop since I was in college because it was a really big and expansive desk, but that desk slowly fell apart because after you move about 4 times, all the little joints in it just fall apart. So I've kept the top of the desk, and then I got the cheapest desk I could at, Office Depot. So, I don't know, man.
But, yeah, cables are just interesting themselves. What I think they should do, because it's like you can find one type of cable to go to another, or you could get adapters to go from one thing to another. It's like there's so much fragmentation. It seems like you should, places like Amazon or like Newegg or even eBay, it would be cool to see a thing where you could just select like a cable configurator or something where you select what's one side going to be and what's the other side going to be. It's you want to go from a male to a female audio jack, 2.5 millimeter or something.
I think what is it, Radio Shack or some places have those already. They're it's easy to make something like that with just HTML or JavaScript. So.
Yeah.
All right. So
it's just like you could get so many things. Like you could even get a weird thing where it goes from like a PS2 port to like a VGA thing or something. I don't even know how that works.
Oh, there's all ways to wire stuff to stuff. The problem is, it's like, after a certain line, like, with like serial ports and stuff, like you could have an adapter plugged into an adapter plugged into an adapter, and then it's like, well, there's no guarantee that this is going to work because the driver that this thing was built for doesn't exist anymore, I was watching a YouTube video today from a guy who he was showing off, he got this save game thing for the Super Nintendo where it basically makes it run like, save states you can plug like non-US games in it, so you can plug Famicom games and stuff like that into it. But it's positioned weird, so it's like you plug it in kind of like a regular SNES game, and then you plug the thing into the back of it, which I'm sure you got to turn the thing around every time you want to put a new game in, and then it takes like 6 AA batteries, if you don't want to plug it into a wall, but if you do, it has a wall thing. It's like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And even like with the what is it called, the lightning port for Macs, it's interchangeable with like DVI, or what do you call that little display port or whatever? It's interchangeable, USB and video.
Well, there's a display port. There's also a MIDI display port, and you sometimes need to get an adapter to convert it from MIDI display to full display, and it just reminds me of that Daily Show episode where some elected official was trying to talk about, it's not natural to have the plumbing, and he's like, well, yeah, except a plumber can get an adapter and a female to male plug with or male to female adapter with that also go for a skinny male 3-way. He's like, that's kind of hot. But it's like you can plug whatever into whatever. Just it's a matter of sometimes if it works or not.
Speaking of plumbing, I was gonna move on to here because I was trying to understand like the different terms with electricity because it going through life, you'll probably need to encounter times where you have to know about what electricity is. Sometimes, like a 100-watt light bulb, or you don't want to try to put like a 100-watt light bulb in something that's like only like 30 watts or something, or plug in like
if
20
you
volts
get those,
into like 8 volts.
if you get like those new ones, they're like, oh, it's equal to 100-watt bulb, but it uses like 25 watts. It's like, well, how's that work? Oh.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess I found an article here that sort of gives like a simplified definition of the things. Like it's differences between amps, watts, volts, and ohms. And with ohms, I noticed you see that a lot of people who are like audiophiles and stuff. They know about a lot of that type of stuff, because a lot of them tend to do their own wiring and gold plating and stuff, for their cables.
Or they're Buddhist, almighty pate may home. I had to get that in there somewhere. So
You did, didn't you?
yeah.
You sure did.
All right. So what? Give us the rundown, Ian.
It says the three most basic units in electricity are voltage, which is current, and it's as it's denoted by a capital V, and current, which is uppercase I, and resistance, or the current is amps, and then the resistance is ohms, donated by an R. It says voltage is measured in volts, current is measured in amps, and they break it down by saying a neat analogy to help understand these terms is a system of plumbing pipes. The voltage is equivalent to the water pressure. The current is equivalent to the flow rate, so like how fast it's going, I guess. And then the pipe size, or like the diameter, I believe. So like if you're, and then watts are equivalent to like how much, like the amount of consumption of power. So I mean it's I'm still a little bit confused about it, but I just find it interesting, And they have equations on here where you can convert, like how to convert how many watts you could get. It would require from volts and amps, Yeah, I didn't want to go through too much on like the equations and stuff because that might be a little bit boring, but I just thought I'd sort of give the analogy between them, I was trying to go through.
As long as you link it for our listeners to read through it at their leisure,
Yeah.
Leisure, potato. Let's call the whole thing up.
But I mean, it's like, yeah, watts are like how much that's pretty much equivalent to the power requirements. So like if you have like 100-watt bulb, but you need there's equations how many amps it would take. I'm trying to find it was about. I closed it too. Damn it. There was a thing about efficiency with electricity that sort of described it too. I don't know, but I was also going to talk about with power. There's differences between. You know what the difference between joules and newtons is?
Not exactly. So, I'm dealing with a pointy cat right now who's clawing all over everything. So, she knows I'm sitting somewhere, and then she's like, "I'm gonna claw and everything because he's not gonna turn around and march me out of here." So.
Yeah, well, newtons is that's like a force vector, and then the
and a tasty
joules
cookie
is a measurement of like how much energy or work, and you could do conversions between the two, you know. So I'll link both of those in there. But I mean, I thought about taking like an engineering class with like for like soldering and about electricity and stuff, but I just never had the time or money or whatever, you know.
It's one of those neat things that if I saw like a summer class on it at some free group or whatever, I'd check it out. But yeah, I've got stuff to make. So
here we go. It
right.
says electrical efficiency. In an electrical system, increasing either the current or the voltage will result in higher power. Let's say you had a system with a 5-volt light bulb hooked up to a 6-volt battery. The power output of the light bulb is 100 watts. Using the equation I equals P divided by V, we can calculate how much current in amps would be required to get 100 watts out of the 6-volt bulb. You know that P equals 100 watts and V equals 6 volts, so you can rearrange the equation to solve for I and substitute in the numbers. I equals P divided by V, or I equals W divided by 6. V equals 16.678.
Well, let's just provide that in the links because people don't want to do numbers by listening to a podcast. So.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. I didn't want to go too in depth with it, but it was a neat little article. I thought that it sort of helps. It's like an electricity for dummies type of article, you know. So it's interesting, and I mean, I've asked people about electricity, and they never, like, well, it's sort of like plumbing. And I'm trying, but you know, somebody tries to explain it to you, it always ends up a mess. So it's usually good to have a good resource to try to help explaining, you know.
Yep, it's a good idea to have references to point back at later.
Yeah, I just thought it'd be a neat thing because, I mean, cables, electricity, it's important if you're a digital artist, you know. I mean, it's just like the whole foundation for your whole life, you know. Sort of take it for granted a little bit, you know. But,
well, I mean, you know, we talked about what would happen if certain Google apps just went away. Like, imagine if Google just decide, hey, we're not doing Google Docs anymore, guys. Wait, what? What?
yeah.
No, my entire business is run on this web app. You know, when that, what was it, CG Hub disappeared, and it's like, oh, there's another one that's going to be coming back. It's like, well, yeah, man, but you burned that bridge already. So, some people are like, I'm never coming back, man. Yeah.
Right.
So
It is getting pretty dark. It's only 20 till 8. It's usually pretty late out still.
Well, it could be a storm on the horizon, Ian.
A storm's a brewing.
Brace yourself, winter's coming. Internet. Okay.
So storms be brewing, matey.
Arr, matey. We must watch the storm so we don't tip our precious cargo. You mean the hot pants, sir? Aye, the hot pants.
Tell me.
Okay.
Yeah, here's a little explanation on the difference between joules and newtons because that has to do with power. More power. Just cannot do it, Captain.
I was doing the Tim Allen thing, but okay, if you want to do Scotty, that's fine. I mean, it's free country. So anyway, I guess it's time for trivia, and then we can GTFO, right?
Ben's like, I want to get out of here early this time, man.
Well, I just don't think that, like, people don't want to nobody wants to listen to a 3+ hour podcast. So if we want people to listen to these episodes after we record them, we should try and keep them to a certain length. So, I don't know. Plus,
well,
we do 20 trivia questions. That takes us a while to get through.
Yeah, I guess I keep forgetting that, but when we're on with Doug on nights, it's pretty hard. We go to 4 hours easy.
Yeah, well, I mean, every once in a while I can understand one long, live woohoo, but, like, usually you want to have the majority of them be, so, followable. So now, bring up the trivia, and let's see what we got going on.
For a sec there, buddy. Hold on.
Okay, buddy.
You entertain. It's your turn to entertain, man. Okay, you can stop. You stop. Stop.
Okay.
Good, Ben. You get a peanut this time. I give you a peanut.
So in the holdover from last show's peanut, is it?
Yeah, sorry, it is. Yeah, that's what you get.
Oh man! But how am I going to empty this collection of gross, disgusting peanuts that they're giving away outside if I keep giving them back? Now come on! I mean,
Well, this peanut stays good forever. It's a packing peanut.
Play the trivia music again.
Here we go.
Trivia with Ian.
Here with you. Yeah, so what kind of trivia sort of floats your boat today, Ben?
Let's go for comics.
Want to try to do a comics one?
Yeah, let's try that. See how well we both know, because I know a middling amount of some stuff, fair to middling, I'd say. Like, there's a few things I know really well, and there's other stuff it's like, I heard about that. If you ask me animation stuff, I'll just win hands down, so. And you're coming for me, brother, aren't you?
You know?
Alright.
I'm gonna try, but it's I don't know, man. You not really that good at like trivia in general. I haven't really played a whole lot when I was a kid. Like, that family game night or whatever. It's like, no, we never really did that.
So what are you saying? You just want to do Sudoku after this?
Yes, Sudoku.
Or do one of those picture puzzles where it's like you gotta slide the thing around. Alright, so you going first?
Go first. I'll read it off to you like a kid.
Okay, go ahead, read it.
It's Garfield is a popular comic series featuring a cat and its owner. What is the name of Garfield's owner?
Mm-hmm. Read the
John,
questions.
Pookie, Odie, or Miss Feeny.
I'm gonna go with A, John.
John. It's John. I mean, come on.
It's John Arbuckle. His brother, Doc Boy. And his dad, not Doc Boy.
I'm gonna. Let's yeah.
I remember not too long ago there was a run of the Garfield comic where Garfield, where John and Liz, the vet, finally decide to start dating. And it's like, well, we all knew that what they were alluding to, that they were going to do that at some point, but now things were actually happening. And like, yeah, that's right, we are dating. Yeah, and it's like, whoa, stuff's happening. This is weird. Yeah, because when you're used to Garfield sitting in his square cat bed in the 3 panels for like, literally it'd been like a good 5 years since anything had happened in the strip, like story-wise. You're sitting there going, what happened with Garfield's girlfriend? We don't see Arlene in here anymore. We haven't seen Odie's original owner in like 20 years. It's like, we're gonna change it up. We're gonna have Liz and John get together. Oh golly gee. Oh man.
Yeah.
I like how you didn't even click on the thing to see if we were right. Oh wait, you did. Okay, I was looking at the wrong one. We don't need everybody should know Garfield at this point. It's like it's culturally been there. Everybody grew up on it. So, all right, what was the name of the socialite who donned a veil to fight crime as Lady Luck? Was it Brenda Banks, Donna Darrell, Linda Lewis, or Barbara Benton?
Yeah, I get that. I should have had go first. I should have had me go first. I'll just go with Linda Lewis. What do you mean?
I'm gonna go with Dinah Darrell. Because really, it's a crapshoot. I don't know anything about Lady Luck, so that sounds like more of a comic book name.
Right. Oh, we were both wrong.
Oh well.
Huh? That it was a crapshoot, right?
Yep. Moving along, Ian.
Yay. Oh no, the Fantastic Four almost got clobbered by Sandman's uniform, fake Quicksilver's hair, Crapster's prostate gun, Dr. Doom's mask.
I think that's paste.
Paste. Oh yeah, paste.
Pasta. I like when you see a word that you know what it is, but you've never seen it spelled, and you like, pastati? Oh, pasta. I don't know. I'm gonna go with Dr. Doom's mask.
Okay. I'll go with the paste gun.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Which one of us will it be?
You were right.
Well, I knew Dr. Doom was a Fantastic Four villain. I just, didn't know if any of the others were. Dr. Doom.
But yeah, I mean, I saw the movies by themselves. I never really read the comics, but
I read the Heroes Reborn Fantastic Four. I don't know. I like the idea of it, but I don't know. Alright. What hero first appeared in Wiz Comics number 2, February 1940? 2 words. 2 words. It's a fill in the blank question, Ian. You only have how many options that you could put?
Wiz Comics number 2. 2 words. My 2 words are gonna be I pass.
I'm gonna go with Wonder Woman.
Captain Marvel.
Oh, well. Wiz Comics. I couldn't tell you anything about Wiz Comics because 1940, when I was negative 42 years old.
You weren't even a twinkling in your grandparents' eyes, were you?
Probably not. Okay, moving along.
Speaking of the Trapster, what was his original name in comics? I randomized these, so some of these were sort of meant to be together, but...
His original name,
what was his original name in comics? No Escape, Blue Man, Ace, Pot, Pete, Stitcher, or the Sticker,
I'm really tempted to go for Paste Pot Pete, but I'm going to go with Glue Man. What do you think, Ian?
Go with the Sticker.
Alright, let's see what it is.
Oh, I was gonna go with that one. You were gonna go with that one. We both should have stuck.
I was gonna go with it, but I was like, that's too stupid. Like, you can't have 3 words that are all alliterative like that and go, come on. I mean, that's too cartoonish, even for a comic book. Like, I have respect for comic books, but that's just goofy. Alright.
Poppy.
While most folks know her as Sheena, Queen of the Jungle Queen did have a real name. What was it? Irish McCalla, Janet Thorpe, Ramsay Ames, or Janet Ames?
Go with Janet Thorpe.
Well, it's kind of interesting that they put 2 Ames on there that might trip you up and make you think one of them is one of them. I kind of want to go with Janet Thorpe, too, because it sounds familiar. I'm going to go with Ramsay Ames, though, just to spice it up.
It's Janet
Ames. I was so close! So close! And yet so far. Alright, Ian, next one.
You Peep is a popular comic series featuring the adventures of a legionary who among the following is not a character featured in this series. Dennis, Egon, the Nomad, Snowy.
I've never read Bo Peep. I'm just gonna go with B, Egon, because I like the name. I mean, I could say D for Snowy, because that's the dog from Tintin, so I'll go with Egon, though.
I'll go with the dramatic name, the Nomad.
That sounds a little too obvious, though. Like, that's a definite answer one way or the other. I really should have gone with Snowy. I should go with my... oh, it might be this, but I'm going to go with this other one. I should go with you. Alright. What sometime hero... Yeah, well, these are comics, and we don't really know them that well. We know the popular ones, but... What sometime hero, sometime villain first appeared in Marvel Comics #1, October 1939? Hawkeye, Submariner, Black Widow, Green Goblin.
I guess I'll just go with that. Gonna go with Hawkeye or something?
I'm gonna go with the Submariner. I think he's basically the same as Aquaman. I think something like that. So I think he kind of plays both sides. So
the Green Goblin is pretty new.
I'd say that was like a '60s creation with like Stan Lee and them. So
yeah.
Yes! I got one! I am so great!
I don't think neither of us are going to get into double digits though this time.
Yeah, well. Bring on the next one, Ian.
One of the Flash's main villains in the Silver Age was
or the Cyber Age was.
No, it was that's Silver Age. I think you left out an I in villains and an L in silver.
It wasn't me. I just copy and paste stuff.
Oh well then, somebody left it out, Ian. Wasn't me.
A lion, a hyena, a kangaroo, or an ape.
I'm gonna go with the kangaroo. How about you, Ian?
An ape is usually pretty typical of things.
Yeah, it'd be typical. I just went with a kangaroo because it sounds goofy, and Silver Age sounds goofy. So, I think one of us will get it. We don't know which one though.
I guess this is Flash and it's like all about speed. I guess maybe I'll choose the hyena because I think they were pretty fast.
What should be like Grave Ape or something?
Ape. I should have gone with the ape.
You should. We're just blowing this one left and right, guys. From now on, I'm just gonna go with my first instinct. I'm not even gonna sit and overthink it.
Yeah, that's our problem. We're trying to overthink it, and because we
These
really
are
don't
too
know
goofy.
it. So
Yeah, we're sitting going, maybe it's this, but maybe it's this other thing. I don't know. Britt Reed is the son of the nephew of the original Lone Ranger. What mask identity did he assume in the 30s? The Green Hornet, the Avenger, the Lone Ranger, the Shadow.
Oh. I'm assuming that it wasn't the same. Oh no, I guess I'll just say Shadow.
The son of the nephew of the original. I'm gonna go with C, the Lone Ranger.
Oh, the Green Hornet.
What? That was Seth Rogen.
Yeah.
You know the Green Hornet in Japan? It was advertised as the Kato show. Or, no wait, China. Well, was it China? I know it was Bruce Lee, but, you know, I don't know. I mean, I know that, like, in China, they're like, hey, you know, you got a guy here, but then again, you know, any non-white guy on TV, it's like, well, we'll take what we can get. You know, like, I don't know. The Kato show. Was the character Kato supposed to be Japanese and played by a Chinese? I don't know. I don't know anything about Kato and the Green Hornet. It sounds cool, but I don't know. I mean, movies made about these 30s heroes, like, you know, I saw the Shadow movie with Alec Baldwin.
Yeah.
And it's equal parts weird and yet kind of awesome, but also kind of weird, but then also kind of awesome, so I don't know. Go ahead, Ian. I'm sorry to interrupt.
the part about the newer Green Hornet with Seth Rogen, my favorite part of it was just that, you know, like, where he was like doing all the kung fu and he was like slowing down time, sort of like the Matrix. That it was interesting, that part, but I don't know. Generally, the movie wasn't that great, you know. Remember they did a MythBusters episode on it.
Anyways, was my turn to read, right?
Yep.
Okay. Jack Kirby created many great characters, but which one didn't quite leave a good impression? Devil Dinosaur, Skull, Infinity Inc., Son of Satan, Daughter of Satan.
I'm gonna go with Devil Dinosaur, just 'cause. Which one are you going for? Huh? Which one are you going for?
What?
Which one are you going for? Son of Satan?
I should have gone with you. Gone with the crowd.
Yeah.
Everything is awesome when you're part of the team.
Everything is awesome. Hagar the Horrible is a comic series featuring the Viking warrior Hagar. What is the name of Hagar's right-hand man? Dr. Zook, Hamlet, Lucky Eddie, Snert.
Go with Lucky Eddie.
Yeah, I want to say C, Lucky Eddie.
Yeah, give us Lucky Eddie.
Yes. Yes.
Roger Winkle, Monica Rambeau share the same costume code name. What is it? Captain Marvel, Captain Thunder, Photon, Captain Flash.
Share the same costume code name. I have no idea, but I'm just gonna go with Photon, because I don't think you ever see a woman named Captain. And I hate to say that, but that's true.
But the same thing. Oh,
What?
Captain Marvel.
Say what? Oh, alright. I'm down with that. That's cool. I like that. I mean, I had no idea, because Captain Marvel, isn't he Billy Batson and... I don't know.
No,
Then
I'm
again,
just
I
gonna
don't-
say the most obvious thing in there possible.
You know, is it DC that owns Captain Marvel? Which just seems kind of weird. Because you'd figure Marvel would be owned by... I don't know. I don't know, man.
I don't know.
I don't know. Alright. In Neil Gaiman's version of Sandman, there was an appearance by the clunky Simon and Kirby version. In which storyline did he appear? Brief Lives, The Kindly Ones, Season of Mists, or Doll's House? No, Katie, you can't guess. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna ask can I use your cat as a lifeline there?
No. No, she wasn't a big gaming person. She was more into, like, Johnny the Homicidal Maniac, so...
I need to go with the pressure. Am I going?
One of these answers will save a small orphanage. One of these answers will blow up your chair with TNT. Which one is it, Ian?
I'll just go with the kindly ones.
Okay, I kind of want to go with that too, but I'm going to go with Doll's House. Just to be different.
Season of Mists. Mystical.
Doll's House.
Bump. Yeah!
Oh. My 3.
Alright.
Okay. Moose and Molly are husband and wife and part of a popular comic series by Bob Weber. What is Moose's surname? Mason, Jetson, Jason, or Miller?
Damn.
This is stuff First off, Moose? Really? Is he a frat guy from Revenge of the Nerds? Hey Moose, what's up? Well, it's gotta be an M, I would assume. I mean, you've already got 2 alliterative names. So, I'm gonna go with Mason.
go with George Jetson.
All right.
Miller. It's Miller time, Ben.
Okay, one of the most popular comic series is Blondie. A popular character in the Blondie comics is the postman who always collides with Bumstead. What is the postman's name? Beasley, Alexander, Dithers, Herb.
I don't know, Dithers.
It's been a long time since I've read Blondie. Let's see. Alexander's his son, Herb's his best friend, or the other male character in the strip. It's either Beasley or Dithers. I think Dithers works at the office, or maybe it's Beasley that does. It's one of those two. I'm gonna go with Dithers.
Beasley.
What? Say what?
Beasley.
Yeah, well. Okay. Let's really get silly. Who attacked Spider-Man during the disco era? Hypno Hustler, Rainbow Man, Dancing Ball, Superfly.
Actually, I think you read the last one. You read that whole long last one, I think.
Oh wait, did I read the last one before that? And this is mine. This was yours to read. I just like to read.
You go first.
I'm a reader. I'm gonna go with Rainbow Man. Although I really want to go with Superfly, but
Reading Rainbow there, buddy.
take a look. It's in a book. They made 3.5 million. At least.
I'll just go with Superfly.
Alright, you get to read the next two then, because I stole one from you. In my eagerness to read. Oh no! Hypno Hustler. Say it ain't so, Spidey.
The one, it doesn't matter. You first on that. It doesn't matter who reads them. It just matters. What? My turn.
What?
You can read this one because it's my turn to go first, but so.
Alright. Which person listed here was never known as Union Jack? Brian Braddock, Joseph Chapman, Brian Fallsworth, Lord Montgomery Fallsworth.
Lord Montgomery Fallsworth.
I'm gonna go with Joseph Chapman, because I have no idea, and that sounds like the least English name.
You go with Joseph Chapman.
Yep.
Brian Braddock.
Oh man, I thought he was the grandfather of computers.
Yeah, I remember that.
Who's the first original animation, Ben?
Alright. Read us the question, Ian.
Okay, which was not a comics title? Michael Jordan Superstar, NFL Super Pro, US 1, Dakota North.
Those were all so stupid, I believe they all were comic titles at one point or another.
Michael Jordan had the comic.
I'm gonna go with Dakota North. It doesn't sound weird enough to have probably been something. It probably was.
killed Jordan, but that's obvious. They had to.
Or maybe it's a hidden lead. Maybe they just threw that there to screw with you.
Go with the most boring one.
Which is?
Oh, what?
Superstar. Alright. Finally, which character uttered only one of us is going to get out of here alive and it won't be me? Iron Man, Superman, Mr. Fantastic, Captain America.
Iron Man is the. I don't think. Let's go with Mr. Fantastic, I guess.
I'm gonna go with Superman. That sounds like something you'd see in one of those covers where they're like, I don't care what you say, Lois, I'm gonna go out in women's pumps. You know, because, you know, it's always one of those, guess what the weird quirk is in this issue? You know. So I'm gonna go with Superman. That sounds like one of those era.
That's one scene that matters. Captain America.
Oh well, he did punch Hitler, so.
Yeah, you're 6. I was 3. That's. We didn't do too good. You beat me still, but.
What? You mean you're not gonna do that last one? Oh man.
We've done 20 already.
Okay.
Want to do more?
No, it's just I saw a question about Calvin and Hobbes.
Oh,
And I know way too.
Yeah, that's.
I know what.
Oh, it's just,
That's like asking. That's like asking me, hey, guys named Ben, who live in this at this address with a cat, what happens to be their favorite color? Let me go ask it.
No, you don't get any good questions this time. I saw the hard.
So
We'll
I
just do
still
it
beat
first.
you.
We'll do it for shits and giggles. Where are you gonna go? Calvin and Hobbes is a popular comic series featuring a kid and his tiger toy. You know who created the series? Earl
Yes, I do.
Schultz, Default, Walt Disney, Bill Watterson.
What do you think it is, Ian?
I think. Earl Schultz.
Really? You? Is
No,
that your for?
Oh, okay. Fine then. It was Bill Watterson.
Yes, it was Bill Watterson.
Yeah.
The manager of what pugilist? I like that word because it means boxer. It's like, why would you give them a weird word name? You know, it's like boxers, what they are. So, anyway, but yeah, I win. Doom doom doo doo doom doom doo 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 bow down 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 down. So you honestly didn't know Bill Watterson until I told you.
No, that was. This is your area, man. Your time. This is your trivia.
Yeah, Mr. Shine.
I'll give you a new peanut then. There you
You're
go.
right. You just want me to be pooping peanuts all week. I know how you are. Well, I guess that's gonna wrap it up for this week, wouldn't you say, Ian?
Yeah, it's thunderstorming. Electricity could cut out at any time. Who knows? You know.
Yeah, thunderbolts and lightning, very, very frightening, Ian. Ian.
On this episode about electricity and
Gotta play it safe
Stuff by
around
lightning.
electricity. no, plugs go here.
I've heard about people getting struck multiple times by lightning and surviving, and they have like white hair and stuff because of it or something.
Well, the Flash in the the new TV show The Flash, he gets hit by lightning to get his power. So,
that's how you get superpowers.
He's like, lightning gave me abs. I'm like, I want to get hit by that kind of lightning. I mean, it's probably gonna suck to be in a coma and everything, but if you wake up from it with abs,
I remember Mom told me a lightning ball come in the window and go down the sink or whatever. I guess they're real, but they're like a rare phenomenon.
Well, my mom always worries about taking a shower when it's thundering out, and I don't know. I remember in the 1930s sci-fi comedy musical, Just Imagine, I think it was. We talked about it before, but there's a guy who was playing golf and got struck by lightning in the 1930s, and they revived him in the 1980s. And I'm sitting there going, getting hit by lightning doesn't, it might melt you, or, severely burn you, or put you into a coma. It won't, freeze you like gas. I'm like, they knew what getting hit by lightning would do to you in the 30s. I mean, I don't... and the thing is I'm the guy who, if anything happens with either a person getting frozen or a computer getting hit by lightning and coming to life, those are, my two favorite sci-fi tropes. But I listen to this and I go, but that's not what lightning does. It didn't do that in the 30s. Why would you...
I thought if it hits your DeLorean, you'll go through time.
Well, if you have a DeLorean, they didn't have any back then, so it's kind of a moot point. Unless you have the DeLorean stretch limo, which...
Yeah.
Can you imagine having 3 DeLoreans enough to make a limo out of them?
That'd be crazy. Talking about volts and watts. 1.1 gigawatts.
What's a gigawatt? Anyway, so I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in this week. We won't be on next week because that's 4th of July vacation time. So,
oh really? I didn't know that. That's news to me.
Well, I mean, let me check my calendar. Let's see. Today is Monday the 23rd. Yeah. So we're gonna be off next week, but yeah.
Unless if you want to do an early one with Doug there and just chill out with him.
Yeah, no, that's not gonna work with my schedule. So
okay, that's fine. We'll take a break. That sounds good.
I'll talk to you about that after the show, but yeah, we'll be back on soon enough. Don't worry, folks. I'm sure you miss us for a while, and then you'll be eager to see me win at trivia. Yeah, because I'm a nerd. Yep. So, I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in, and we'll see you all on the other side.
Peace.
To find out more, visit NoRightsProductions.com. Follow me on Twitter at twitter.com/NoRights. And hey, why don't you check out my Tumblr at NoRights.tumblr.com.